Oh, don't worry about that. You got high tide pretty well, half tide. You're all set.
Okay, what I'll do is I'll put my bow and I'll back in.
Okay. Don't they look pretty? No, don't throw.
You did, Harold.
I'll get it, but don't throw it. Hey, Matt, did you bring an Admiral's?
Morning.
Okay, as you come up, would you take your life vest and just that right there? Admiral, I think...
Spend a few moments with you. First of all, let me express my appreciation and thanks for coming out here to share this moment with us. Welcome to Boston Light. Certainly a light that's very memorable, very important to all of us. There's an awful lot of history that goes along with the light. A lot of tragedy, some heroics, and certainly just everyday humdrum of reaching out across the water, helping everybody that needs help for navigation as they sailed into Boston Harbor. I'd like to welcome Senator Kennedy especially, and I know he's got a few things he'd like to say to everyone that's here. Senator?
Admiral Backey, and friends, let me join also in welcoming all of you to Little Brewster Island and the real home for Boston Light. Some of us had the opportunity
to go in real tight there in a second.
About 2 years ago when we were able
to go in real tight, so I didn't want to block your shot for a second.
Be able to provide some of the important repairs to ensure the quality of this facility and the excellent work that is done by the light and the keepers and the Coast Guard in ensuring that this light is going to continue to be a beacon over the Boston Harbor. This Boston light is important for many, many reasons. First of all, its involvement with Boston and the history of this country is very special and really unique. The oldest lighthouse in America, really first lit after it was established in 1716, played an important role in the American Revolution, was seized from the British almost a year before the Revolution actually ended, and it was the scene of some of the last fighting in the American Revolution. its history and involvement in Boston Harbor is really important and significant. So this light should be maintained and preserved for that reason alone. But beyond that, it is a part of all the restoration of Boston Harbor. We were able to see last week the conference committee in the House and Senate secure additional funding for the cleaning up of Boston Harbor, and this light is involved in that whole effort. We see the work that's taking place at the state level to make many of the islands in the Boston Harbor area available and useful to the people in the greater Boston area. And this light can be an important, play an important role in that restoration, as it is available to tourists in the future. And this light has been enormously important to the various men and women who depend upon the sea for a livelihood. One can't come out today and see the various ships and boats that are out here and not know the importance of this light for their security. So this is really an important facility. I welcome the fact that the committees in the Congress have indicated that they believe that it was sufficiently important for those reasons and others to continue the manning of this light for another year. It seems to me that this light, being really unique in our country, should retain that kind of a situation into the future. But we will be working with our colleagues to try and achieve that, and work with a variety of the various preservation groups that have done so much and have been so committed to this light and have brought some 3,000 people here over the past 4 years. And anyone who's been out here never forgets that experience. We welcome the opportunity to work with Dick Kendall and the state and the preservation groups to see this day be achieved, and we look forward to working with them and the state in the future, so that the people in Greater Boston and all over our state, New England, and the rest of the country might be able to come out and understand the very special importance of this very unique facility. Again, I want to thank the Coast Guard for all of their cooperation and say what a pleasure it has been to work with them. And I think all of us in Massachusetts know the very special importance that they have in the life of our state and in the life of our country. And it's entirely appropriate at the 200th anniversary of the Coast Guard that we be gathered here at a facility that was there at the birth of our nation. So I want to say what a pleasure it is to be with Dick Kendall. Maybe Dick,
Senator, thank you very much. On behalf of the Commonwealth, I would like very much to express our ongoing appreciation to Senator Kennedy for his efforts not only in Boston Harbor, but for his efforts across the Commonwealth. We would not be talking about a partnership which we enjoy, the Department of Environmental Management, with this lighthouse, but for the Senator's active efforts on behalf of this project, and again express our appreciation to you, Admiral, and to the United States Coast Guard for serving as a partner with us. The park system that Massachusetts operates is really extraordinary. It is the 6th largest state park system in the United States, some 250,000 acres, but no jewel in the park system surpasses the Boston Harbor Island State Park. And it is made so by efforts of so many people throughout here, the volunteers to our program that have joined it to make it possible, throughout the history of the park system, as a matter of fact. But the historical significance here is worthy of note. And for people to be able to come out and to enjoy and to appreciate this site, we would rival any state for what we offer, running from these islands through to the mountains of the Berkshires. But we are indebted to Senator Kennedy, we are indebted to the Coast Guard for serving as a partner with us. And as we look at our neighboring islands, I was told that they operate 2 weeks on and 1 week off. When you are here, our folks will stay on for 4 days and go off for 3 days. But I am aware of a story some years back of an attempt to walk across and visit with our staff from here during the dead low tides. But I would like to introduce and recognize, on the occasion of their 10th anniversary, the Friends of the Boston Harbor Islands, Suzanne Gallmarsh and her group, throughout the year. dedicate themselves to public access to allow tens of thousands of people to come and enjoy these islands. And but for her, I guess that no one would have been out here with the arrangements and cooperation of the Coast Guard. And we thank you for that. We stand as a partner ongoing with her group. We stand as a partner with the Coast Guard. And in the state park system, the Harbor Islands remain a jewel.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Boston Light is the gateway to the Boston Harbor Islands State Park. The preservation and future public access of Boston Light is a Massachusetts concern, of course a Boston concern, but it's also a national concern. This lighthouse is a historic resource and a cultural resource. It's involved with the citizens all around the country and for future generations of citizens. For the past 4 years, the Friends of the Boston Harbor Islands have been running trips out here to Boston Light. We've brought more than 3,500 people out to the lighthouse. It's very much part of the experience of visiting the island, climbing up into the lens, into the tower of Boston Light. Excuse me for covering your face, Dick. But I want to point out that tower because it's a critical and integral part of the future of Boston Light, that there be public access out here. And now that the Department of Environmental Management has received some funding from the Bicentennial Lighthouse Fund, of which Senator Kennedy was involved in helping to make happen, that money for the feasibility study will look at a variety of issues. And I know that the Friends of the Boston Harbor Islands are deeply committed to working with the Coast Guard and with the state park staff to come up with a plan for Boston Light's future. And there will be an advisory committee of people working with Historic Boston and the Department of Environmental Management to work out a good plan for Boston Light's future. It's great to have people out here today and recognize the importance of the lighthouse and to begin to plan more for its future public access, something that we all believe, I think, should happen. And I'd like to recognize Senator Kennedy and make him and ask him to be an honorary member of Friends of the Boston Harbor Islands.
Does this entitle me to all the privileges of the association,
Yes, it does.
including paying dues? I think we were inviting any of you who have not climbed to the top to climb up to find that very extraordinary experience. I think I see a few people there that haven't been all the way up. Thank you so much. It's wonderful.
Position as we are here, congratulating the Secretary of Commerce. Oh, do you want it there? I got the pictures with me. Got the time. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. Thanks an awful lot.
Thank you for
Thank you for the
supporting
book.
us.
You bet. Okay.
Right, yeah.
I understand that can be a problem when you...
Well, have you heard about
that guiding light. And lighthouses are a romantic reminder of our maritime past.
Well, they are indeed, and in addition, lighthouses all had their own separate sequences of flashing lights. For instance, Minot's light goes 1, 4, 3. And tradition has it that means I love you.
Oh, that's nice. Well, there are hundreds of lighthouses remaining along the East Coast, all of them now automated. All of them, that is, except for one. She was the first lighthouse built in America. Since 1716, Boston Light has guided ships safely into Boston Harbor. But she couldn't have done it without the help of her lighthouse keepers, who made sure her light always shined. Today, with improved navigation, more accurate charts, and tight budget constraints, some say the keepers are no longer necessary, that automation is the way of the future.
The main reason that they're automating all these lighthouses is, number one fact is money.
Other reasons include wanting to free up these Coast Guard personnel for different responsibilities and relieving them from hazardous duty. But many believe Boston Light should stay manned, that there ought to be one station left in the country where the keepers are not replaced by machinery. Chief among them is Senator Edward Kennedy, who has fought to ensure that they aren't.
This now is the last manned lighthouse, and under the legislation that's been approved by Congress and signed by the President, it'll continue to be manned in perpetuity, as long as there's a Coast Guard, which I think there will be for a long time.
Coast Guard lighthouse keepers Chuck Pulaski and Alan Ux believe lighthouse keepers are still needed because they continue to perform important functions.
We were still carrying out the same job. We might not do as much. Our fog signals are automated. They were firing cannons. But we're still basically doing the same job they were back in 1716.
Now, you have to go up here and clean this from time to time, right? Show me, what do you have to do?
About twice a week, we come up with these handy wipes, has the glass cleaner already built into it, which makes it pretty easy. Basically, just catch every piece of the lens we can from the outside and the inside.
A small amount of dust on the lens or anything on the windows will affect the optics of the light. The thing puts out like 27 miles.
The lighthouses were put here to serve a purpose. They are pretty to look at, but their main purpose was to guide mariners into Boston Harbor. If you're out there floating around and the fog rolls in and you're not sure where you are, you don't have the navigation equipment, and you look up and see, well, there's Boston Light, I know where I am.
Coast Guard Station Point Allen and Coast Guard Light Station Boston with the weather on 8-1 over.
Chuck and Alan also aid mariners by reporting the weather to the National Weather Service and by raising storm flags to warn them of ominous conditions.
So I think somebody still has to live out here, where it is so accessible to the public. A lot of things could happen. Number one, of course, is vandalism. Anybody could just pull up and do whatever they wanted to the place.
Then there are reasons of historical significance that justify Boston Light staying manned.
A manned lighthouse follows the tradition since 1716, the first lighthouse in America. They're very much a part of the Boston tradition, as the cobblestone streets are of our city, and as so many other important historical landmarks are.
Looking up on the wall at the list of all the lighthouse keepers that have been here, all the things that have happened out here, the shipwrecks, the British coming through, rebuilding it, installing, a gigantic lens that's still sitting here from 1859.
They became the symbol of the safe harbor, the return voyage. The last item seen on shore. One was headed out on the great whaling trips. The lighthouses bring you back to another time, and Boston Light is the most extraordinary of them all.
Well, mariners aren't the only ones who get to enjoy the beauty and the romance of Boston Light. Visitors are welcome there also, and they're welcome to talk to